PR Connections Radio presents. This episode of We Have the Power is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Welcome to We Have the Power. I'm going to adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. I want you to see this beautiful tie that I have today. Never been one of those people to wear a white shirt and striped ties. Not me. You are looking at We Have the Power. I'm your host, Brian Gardner. Please like, subscribe, and tell your friends. The purpose of this show is to make sure we never lose our freedoms. The last two segments, we're talking about the perverted elite. Today, we are talking about what you can do to help stop them from their evil goals ever becoming a reality. Right after this important message. It has been said that young people are the future of any country or any world. I believe that's true, and if you do, then together we know that we must invest in our young people. One of the best ways we can invest in them is by obtaining the booklets from the drugfreeworld.org Truth About Drugs campaign. The booklets, especially on marijuana, come in English, of course. This is something that is out there and is talked about a lot in the media, but it also comes in Spanish. And then there is a book that is a compilation book. And this one is very important because it covers things like alcohol abuse, ecstasy. We know that cocaine, crystal meth are things that are dangerous. Inhalants can be abused, and also heroin, LSD, and even prescription drugs. So it's very important to get these booklets that give information about what these drugs and what alcohol abuse will do. They don't say don't take them, which oftentimes turns young people off. They tell everyone who reads these booklets what this kind of activity will do. And in that way, we're investing in our young people and investing in the future of our country and this world. Just go to drugfreeworld.org and get these free booklets right away. Now, listen to that guy. That's a very important thing to do. Okay, we have the power. In case you wonder why I have a picture of the car there that George Lucas actually owns one, that is because that person was ramrodded because the other three automakers did not want him to do well. And so they just moved him out of the way illegally. It was just a mess. Now, let's talk about what you can do to help defeat the plans of the perverted elite. Let me define what the perverted elite is. It is those individuals who want to retain their power, members of the CIA who are, and there was a report that came out recently, there's a number of people at the CIA who don't even believe in the U.S. government, our Constitution, or anything. Doesn't mean everybody at the CIA is doing that, but there's a certain number of people that do. Well, we need to protect ourselves against them. We need to protect ourselves against the most dangerous business in this world today. That's the military-industrial complex. Because only when there's a war do these individuals then have a way to stay in business. So we don't want to let them just make up phony wars to keep moving their inventory. So these are some of the things that you can do that will help out just on a basic level that I'm going to talk about. But I wanted you to know kind of who the perverted elite is. It's industrialists. It's all kinds of people that have business interests that do well in warfare, that want to manipulate things for their own good and not for the good of the overall population of this country and this world. So let's talk about what you can do. Some simple things. You might feel like, well, what can I do? The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, these people, the military industrial complex have millions of dollars at their disposal. Doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter. Here's some things you can do. Let's start off with my list. One thing is get your kids out of public school, first of all. It is a brainwashing situation, and that's why Trump has canceled the Department of Education and turned it back over to the states, because the Democrats, and I'll talk about what's happened to their party, but they were refusing to get rid of these books that were being given to kindergartners, talking about all kinds of sexual matters that should not ever be presented to kids of that age. So get your kids out of school, public school. You don't want them being counseled about, have you ever thought if they're talking to a girl, you ever thought you were a boy? You ever thought you were a girl? Marijuana is not that bad. All these kind of things that come up in public school, you don't want them hanging around with other kids who are into pot, smoking cigarettes, talking about sex changes, when they're 13 years old. Get them out of that environment. Get the drug booklets that I have as part of an infomercial on almost every segment I do. They're free. Educate you and your children about what these drugs will do. Maybe someone says, well, marijuana grows in the ground, it's pretty natural. Okay, I can kind of go, okay, but, in 20 years, we're going to see people getting emphysema from the smoke. The smoke isn't good for various parts of your lungs, okay? Even that is a problem, but marijuana leads to other drugs. Marijuana is a drug. Anytime you're on drugs, which I will be covering in a future show, you abuse alcohol, you take drugs, you're injured. It opens up a part of your mind that records information that can be played back against you in a similar situation in the future that has nothing to do with the current situation in the future, except that it's similar. You don't want to do that to yourself. Get the drug booklets. Stop watching the left-leaning news. They are lying to us. They are bent on getting rid of Trump because he stands in the way of a lot of the things that they want to do. Stop watching the left-leaning news. They are lying. They're liars. That's what they do. They're told by their upper management, you will talk about this and you will say this, and they manipulate things untruthfully. Never put your kids on any psychiatric medication. They have terrible side effects, and they do not handle anything. They make a person in a drug state so they can't remember why they're depressed. You never got rid of the underlying problem here. You just covered it up. Is my other hand gone? No, you just can't see it. It's there. You get rid of this problem, then my hand can move wherever I want. With this problem in the way, yeah, it blocks you. That's an example. If your kids are on psychiatric medication, do not cold turkey. Do not just suddenly stop taking them. That is extremely dangerous. That's how dangerous these drugs are. Go to a non-psychiatric nutritionist and wean them off of the psych medication as quick as you can. Get them on B1 and calcium. You have to take B1 with calcium because to process it, your body will take calcium wherever it can find it, out of your teeth or wherever. So B1 and calcium. Do you know that taking psychiatric medication lowers your B1? Do you know that when you are low in B1, negativity can get to you much quicker? B1 keeps it away. Funny, the psychiatrists don't tell us this. So a person's low in B1 and they're not feeling good, they're feeling depressed or whatever, because they have no B1 and their negativity is right on them. So then the psychiatrist says, well, what we need to do is you need to get on psych drugs. And that further lowers their B1, and that means they'll be on psych drugs for their entire life. Get your kids on B1 and Vitamin and calcium with a nutritionist guidelines, but a non-psychiatric nutritionist. And get them off psych drugs, properly weaned as fast as you can. And have conversations with them about what's going on with them. But if you get the B1 started, it's going to push the negativity away. They're going to be feeling better. And psych medications never make a person better. They make them forget why they're depressed, and they appear to be better. The problem is still there, bubbling. If we had a volcano that was pumping out lava and we just paved the road over, well, guess what? The lava's still under there churning away. We haven't fixed it. You got to get in there and get rid of that lava, then put the road down. It's another example. Lower you and your overall family's consumption of sugar, especially sodas that have high fructose corn syrup, which is horrible for a person. Leads to obesity. It leads to all kinds of problems with sugar intake, diabetes. Stop drinking commercial sodas. Now, there are some new ones coming out. One of them and I drink. And Olapop is one. It's not sugar-free. The sugar-free ones, I'm not sure what's in them. They're questionable. The diet sodas are worse. They have NutraSweet and all kinds of crap in them. Do not drink those. Stop drinking sodas that are sugar-free if you are. Olapop is a line of sodas, various different flavors, and they are good for your digestive tract. They have very little sugar in them. Drink more water. Some people say you shouldn't drink any sodas. Well, certain consumption of them is probably okay. If you drink that only and no water, that's not good. Don't drink tap water. Get Alhambra from the stores or pay Alhambra to put a tower in your house and get the big bottles. I don't trust the tap water. You can check it out for yourself. I don't trust it. I don't care how much they say, oh, it's clean, it's good. No, I'm not drinking tap water. Get proper exercise and sleep. You've got to, if you work out of your home, like a lot of people work remotely, every hour, take a break, do something, walk around, maybe take a walk around your neighborhood. And make sure your kids are getting plenty of sleep. 7 hours. Sometimes I don't get that sleep. And negativity, once again, will come closer on you if you're tired. Your analytical mind cannot fight off this negativity as easily when you're tired. Limit your kids' access to their phones. They do not need to be on their phone as if they've had it surgically attached. I don't care what all the other kids are doing and the parents who are failing their kids by not getting them to back off of these phones. Get your kids involved with sports or art projects. Go to Michael's and get some art projects and get your kids doing that. Now, there's going to be a period where your kids can say, yeah, but everybody else is on the phone. And, I get laughed at because I do art projects. Well, just help them with the peer group pressure, but tell them don't hang out with those kids then. Try to find parents. Now, if you're out of the public schools, it'd be much better. Because if you're in a private school, the kids usually have better values. I'm not saying they all do, and I'm not saying every kid at the public school is evil. I'm saying generally that's the case. If you don't have your kids in public school, they're not going to be involved with drinking, smoking, too early, girlfriend, boyfriend, possible intimacy situations. And dating too early and agreement that it's okay to do things I wouldn't mention on this show at a very young age. Take a little time to listen. And now this, before I go to this, hold on. What I've given you first is get yourself physically squared away. Because if you get plenty of sleep, you're eating good foods, lots of vegetables, fruits. I would say don't eat beef. It has too much blood content in it. You know, it's not healthy. But you get yourself squared away where you're talking with your family, the family's doing good. You know, your family isn't a constant problem every day. You're eating well, you're sleeping well. Then you're going to have time for this next part. Take a little time to listen and find out who you are going to vote for and what they stand for. How do they plan to handle the shortfalls of Social Security? Now, you probably know this, but there were trillions of dollars in the Social Security Trust Fund. And these senators, man, they should have been thrown in jail. I don't know if they're dead, if they are no longer senators and Congress members, but they saw all that money there illegally. And legally, it wasn't their money. We have put that money in there so it would be there when we retired. Well, they saw all that money in there and they used it for various things. I think some of that money was promised to be used for certain things and they probably took some. So it's a whole criminal activity. Any senator or congressman who are still in office, I don't care if they're Republicans or Democrats. I'm an independent conservative. I'm not beholden to every Republican is perfect, you know. So any that are still in office that voted to take that money from the Social Security Trust Fund, they ought to be brought before a judge and have a trial. And if they're found guilty, they're going to be paying for it because that was a criminal activity. They had no business ever touching that money, ever. And they did. So find out who you're voting for, how you're going to handle this. I think we should audit the Fed, which is a non-government agency, the Federal Reserve that prints and is control of our money supply, do a top to bottom audit. And if there are crimes, which I believe there would be, then the penalty should be that they pay a certain amount for these crimes they have done, if that comes out in their trial. And there would be plenty of money to put back into the Social Security Trust Fund. Do not vote Democrats back into office. Any of them. And here's why I can say that. I'm not saying all Democrats are bad. What I'm saying is that party has been taken over by the perverted elite. Again, I'll repeat this again and again. The evil people who comprise the perverted elite said, let's see, which party can we take over? We need to be in control of a certain number of elected officials. Let's try the Republicans first. Republicans are too steeped in religion. Many of them are Christians. They're not going to buy illegal crap. So the perverted elite, well, we can't really get the Republicans because they're goody two-shoes. You know, that's their stupid viewpoint. So they look at the Democratic Party and they manipulated the Democratic Party into supporting failed policies, which if Trump didn't get elected would have probably, this country would be in complete ruin. Take a look at California. Gavin Newsom destroying that state. And I think he's under orders from Nancy Pelosi, who is a blood relative, and through Nancy Pelosi, who's probably under orders from the perverted elite. And I think they have dirt on Gavin Newsom. So if he ever has a moral awakening, these reports, I'm sorry, Gavin, remember that report on you that we hid? Someone leaked it. You're going to jail. And if you don't help us, we can help you if you'll help us. But if you keep on this moral plane where you're turning your back on us, this is going to the media. You're going to pay for it. It's how they control these people. I think most of the Democrats and many of the Republicans, they have dirt on them. That's how they keep them in control. Again, where do these people stand on issues that are important to you? It may not be abortion as your top issue. It may be the environment. and there's a lot of false information there. It may be the economy. Find out. The people you're going to vote for, find out where they stand on these things. They won't answer it. Don't vote for them. If they can't be forthcoming, they're probably doing something they don't want you to know about. So you got to make sure you do something each month at least to help this country maintain its freedoms. Now, I know if you have kids, that's time consuming. If you're married, you have to spend time with your spouse. You got to shop. You got to clean the house, get the car serviced. There's a million things to do. However, doing something each month and probably each week would be better. Let's start with each month. Doing something, researching a candidate, talking to your kids about issues, checking with your kids, especially if they're in public school. What did they teach you this week? What did they talk about? You got any peer group pressure going on? Do something to make sure you're improving things, because we can't just go, all right, I voted for this guy. I'm going to send him off to Washington. There he goes. And you don't think he's going to put his hands, him or her, put their hands in the cookie jar when you aren't watching? We aren't there as a species yet that we can be that ethical when there's temptation. Some people can. Too many politicians can't. They get all the way over in Washington. They get pressure on it. Hey, if you want to get reelected, you're not going to, Or they get dirt on them, and then they're compromised. So you need to find out where they stand on the issues that are important to you. Make sure you vote. Don't get into this thing of, well, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't matter anymore. Some people think they're cheating on the vote. Some people think, well, my vote doesn't count. It does count. Because when they review the votes, in whatever way they review the votes, if there's a significant number of people that are saying, I'm not voting for you unless you get this Social Security stuff squared away, you see, you've touched a nerve. They want to get back in there. Okay, we got to do something to placate the people. They're really upset about this issue. It does make a difference. Help protect our rights by doing something once a month, and as soon as you can, twice a month, and then once a week. Now, you could start a local neighborhood group on an issue that's important to you. Let's take a simple one that pretty much everybody can agree with: animal abuse. Well, we don't want to abuse animals in our city, our county, our state, or our country. Okay, so you start with your city and you work with the people you're going to vote for, the mayor. Hey, I don't want any animal abuse going on. And if there's a testing facility, hey, I don't want you testing stuff on animals anymore. You don't need to do that. And if they go, well, we still need to do that because we're too lazy to change, and we get money from the people and it's all mixed up. Okay, thank you for telling me that. And then just don't vote for them. And then on a state level, you want to make sure if there's any testing facilities, stop testing on animals. And nationwide, your 2 senators and your Congress members, find out where they stand on this and push them hard, and call them. Every time you talk to them, call them public servant. It's a great test. Public servant, Mary Jones, public servant, Tom Smith. And if they go, why are you treating me so disrespectfully? Well, are you a public servant or not? Yes, I am, of course. Well, that's why I'm calling you one. And if you get that kind of discussion going on, you're missing the fact that they're not being a public servant. If you say public servant Mary Smith, she goes, yeah, you're right. That's an interesting title because I am a public servant. I'm a senator for a state with 18 million people. You think 18 million people can go to Washington and wait till the bill gets written so then we can go, let's read through this thing and vote on it? No, I'm a representative of you. I'm there because sending 18 million people to Washington to vote on a bill is not going to work. 2 senators from each state gives each state a chance to have a say about what happens in this country. Okay? So you want to ask them how they're going to handle these different issues that come up. Okay? So let's review. You get yourself healthy by eating proper foods, sleep, should be on vitamins, the best vitamins you can find, and your kids need to be on you need to be on B1 too. Life is stressful, and stressful stuff gobbles up B1. So does alcohol, so does stressful situations, so does psych drugs. When you're low in B1, life gets tough. Okay, so make sure you're getting plenty of sleep, eating good healthy food, and organic food is important, because you're putting less chemicals in yourself, for gosh sakes. You get yourself squared away. Now you have enough time and energy to think about, okay, let me think about this person I'm voting for. Let me ask him some questions. If you're tired, eating the wrong kind of food, letting things go in your house, and everything's a mess, your mind is so stuck on all these problems, you don't have time to look out to find out what the senator stands for or is doing. That's why partly they have destroyed the economy so badly. They want us like this. Oh, I got problems. Do you think a person like this can look and see what the senator is doing and see their crimes? No. They want us introverted. Extroverted, we might catch them with their hand in the cookie jar. They don't want that. So keep the pressure on. Everybody's got to work 3 jobs. That'll keep them from ever looking into what we're doing and what we shouldn't be doing. That's their game plan. Don't let their game plan continue. You get yourself squared away, then start looking at who you're voting for, asking questions, finding out where they stand. Get your kids out of school, public school, and get them away from the drugs and the smoking of marijuana and the discussions about gender change and all of this. The programming that goes on, that everything's okay. If a man loses his job, it's okay for him to steal that loaf of bread because he needs to feed his family. My gosh, you're so harsh. No, the guy who's going to steal the bread could say, could I sweep the front of your store? Could I help you unload a truck? And you could give me a loaf of bread. You see, there's an exchange. It's criminal. Let me give an example here. I'm going to Walmart and I need a pen, so I'm breaking open the package and I'm taking this with me. Right? That's criminal. There's no exchange there. So if the man needs bread because he lost his job and whatever, he does something to earn the bread. Now, the public schools get very reasonable, so do liberals, and they say, oh, no, it's okay. He needs bread. Come on. They have plenty of bread. That is not the point. The point is, the only reason you get something is you exchange something for it, unless it is a food pantry where they have specifically gotten donations from others, and it's okay for you to come there and get free food. Even that is not healthy for people. The whole idea of welfare is not to help people. It's to keep people at a certain economic level, because the racists who are in the perverted elite do not want people of color moving up the economic ladder, moving into their neighborhood. So put them on welfare. They become dependent. They'll keep voting for us. And we give them just enough money that they can't really move out of their neighborhood. Now let's pump drugs into the black community, for example. Break up the family. No father in the picture. Then the kids run rampant, don't get proper training, become criminals. We want them all in jail anyway. I'm talking about the racists in the perverted elite. They're worthless people anyway. Let's get them in jail. Break up the black family. The kids will run rampant. They'll start selling drugs to make money because they have no other way to make money in the black community. And then the police catch them, throw them in jail. Then we don't have to deal with it anymore. It's a very sick, very disgusting thing behind welfare. If you're on welfare, you should be working, exchanging for what you're getting. And isn't it funny? My last thing I want to say, they never run out of welfare money, but they can run out of Social Security money. That's because the welfare money comes from us to keep those people voting for them because they're dependent. Now, next Thursday, I'm going to be going over a book that if you go to the library, you don't even have to pay any money. You go to the library and get this book, read it carefully with a dictionary for a few medical terms. You will know more about how the mind works and how to handle mental health problems from the best-selling book on mental health ever. So tune in for that, because you will know more than a 4-degree psychiatrist, because they know nothing about how to make a person better. They just put them to sleep. And if you surveyed them, they couldn't remember why they got depressed. The cause for the depression is still there. It's just covered over. Psychiatrists are pretty much worthless, and they get billions of dollars from states and governments to continue to poison the minds and the health of our population, and especially our young people. That's why I mentioned today, never put your kids on psychiatric meds. If they're on them, get with a non-psychiatric based nutrition and get them off as fast as you can. Next Thursday, 5 o'clock, you don't want to miss what's coming up, a book that you can get for free. Read it. You'll be amazed what you learn. Factual information about the mind. Thank you for watching today. Together, we have the power to keep our freedom and liberties, our freedoms and liberties alive. We do. They don't. They're evil. And they make mistakes and they pull themselves down. We don't, because we want freedom for everybody. Thank you for watching.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.